Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at a collection of one watch. All right. And actually it's a watch project, and this was sent to me by Bill, and we're going to go through the steps of making your own watch, and it's not that uh, difficult. And I think it's important to know whether you're into high horology or whether you're just sort of starting off with the least expensive mechanical watch that you can find. But first, we're going to take a look at Heuer's Breguet Classique chronometry. This watch, I may have talked about it before. It's such an incredible watch, so I don't like talking about it again. Now, this thing runs at 10 hertz. Your average time is around 4 hertz. And the watch we're going to be taking a look at today, the one that we're making, runs at, I think, 2.5 or 3 hertz. Anyway, the point is that this thing is really fast. Now, the idea, of course, is that the faster your movement of your mainspring, or your vibrations per hour, VPH, the more accurate your watch is. And so that's what we're going to take a look at right now. Is that when the faster something goes, you're going to have more friction. And what they've done with Breguet, you can see it down in the corner down there. They come down, and the balance wheel is magnetic, and so really what you have is that you have a floating hairspring or balance wheel, and so you can go at 10 hertz as opposed to 4 or 3 or 2.5. I tend to prefer the slower ones, but that's me. This watch is really an amazing watch, and I want to thank Heuer 74 once again for letting us demonstrate this wonderful watch of his. Okay, so now let's take a look at Bill's, what we'll call it, Bill's watch project. And here we have sort of an overview. You've got the kinds of things that you usually need, or I should say always need. You got a strap, which most of you probably worked with when you get a new strap. You need a pair of tweezers that have very sharp points, and this is for picking up little screws and things. Some of these parts are extremely small, especially when you're putting the hands on and so forth. This is the little dust-proof case, and inside of it is a movement. This isn't the movement we're going to look at today. And it's in a little vise, and this is a way you can handle it without having to handle. You don't have to touch and gum up the movement. You can handle just the case, the vise that you hold it in. And you need some screwdrivers. One of the things here, you can see in that picture, it has a yellow neck. This has a purple neck. Now the purpose of this is you can just take a look at the color and know what size screw head it has. Or if you don't know the exact size, usually what you do is you fit it and so that it fits the screw, and then you know that particular color goes with that screw or that screw set. And it's important to have good ones of these. This is I have a little wheel with all of them in it. They're really good. There's not one pictured there. Usually I like to have a loop handy so you can take a look at it and make sure everything's okay. And another thing, now this comes more from taking a watch apart and putting it back together, not just assembling the parts, okay? But these things are really handy. They're little covered dishes with separations so that you can put the different parts in them. But you really don't need a whole lot of tools for this, okay? Anyway, so, and then of course you need a case to put the whole watch in, and a dial, and the hands, and so forth. So let's take a look at Bill's watch here. And to start off, now this is, Bill uses a Seagull ST36, which is pretty much of a clone of an ETA 6498, and 6498 is from a Unitas 6498, which of course Swatch bought a long time ago, and it was originally for a pocket watch. There's a pocket watch picture up there that you can see, and there's the back and the front. Now we're used to looking at the back because there's some kind of exhibition window, you can see all of the back, but we rarely see the front because the front part of the watch is covered with a dial. And so all we see is the dial. Of course, that's all we're supposed to see. By the way, I have on my Vacheron Constantin Historique Americain 1921. I just call it my 21. That's a fun watch to wear. Okay, so this is the movement that we're going to be dealing with, and this is the particular one. There are different movement makers from China who have movements that are copies of or clones of usually ETA of some sort or another. Some people say, well, in fact, one article I read said, well, this group of Chinese movements they looked at, seagulls, I think it was seagulls anyway, they didn't have the lubrication, and so you're supposed to lubricate it yourself before you put it together. You do want them pre-lubricated, unless you're a watchmaker or you have a lot more experience than most people have with that. Lubricating a movement is not terribly difficult, but you have to do it just right, know where to use the right lubricating. Okay, now here we see the Seagull. I have ST36, and next to it I have 6498 because it's a clone of that. And you can pick these up. This is a hand winding one, and they cost about $40. Okay. Now, if you want to get an ETA Unitas 6498, you can get those too. The ones I saw, they sell for about $174, $180, right in there. Well, this is only $40. Now, a lot of times people say, look, I want the $40 one because if I screw something up, it's not going to cost me as much as a real ETA Unitas. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're just having fun. The enjoyment is making it and not paying a lot for it. This is one of the ironies too in watch collection. Any one of the watches I have costs way more than this watch. And one of the reasons I've been trying to learn more about watchmaking is so it doesn't cost so much. So if I go out and I spend money for everything I need to make a watch, I'm not going to be as in the hole as I go out and I buy even a simple watch. I mean, a simple good watch is a few $1,000. Okay, these you don't even get near $1,000, which is really neat. However, this is another thing for it too. As a watch collector, when you have this kind of knowledge that you can put something together and you look at this and say, hey, this looks pretty good. Well, what are they charging me, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 for a watch with exactly the same movement? All I did is put it in a case, slap in the movement, put on a dial, put on the hands, and Bob's your uncle. It's all done. Okay. It's not that simple, but pretty close. All right, so here we have $40 so far. One of these little dust-covered gizmos here, that'll set you back about $3.39. You can find them on eBay. But boy, I tell you, you really want to get that stuff because you want your movement with a dust cover. Okay, all right. the next thing you need is a dial, and this is a Parnis dial, and they have the raised letters and indexes on that. It's pretty nice. And then at the bottom they have printed the 60 seconds for the small seconds that they have. By the way, too, the 6498 has the small seconds at 6 o'clock. The 6497 has the small seconds at 9 o'clock. All right, that's something that's good to know. And also, too, working well at this point where you're making a watch by putting together the movement and so forth, you're not dealing a whole lot with these real minuscule things that you do when you take it apart. However, putting the hands on and some of these other things, that does require you got to pay attention to what you're doing. Okay, so here's a dial. I like this dial. It's a nice little dial. It's about 13 bucks is what Bill paid for it. And here is the dial inside of a case. Now, the Corgent 42 millimeter stainless steel case was $25.11. And you can get it with a solid back, you can get it with sapphire glass on it, and both the front and the back. What I prefer to do is to get it with it on both sides. You're going to put a movement in there, you do all of this other stuff, you want to see what you've done. I mean, we're collectors, we're not responsible people, or at least responsible for our behavior sometimes. Okay, this is sitting on top of what's called a dial or a case cushion. It's a little thing that you put things on when you're doing some work, and it has a little cushion to it. And this sort of helps you from accidentally against a solid surface from if you press too hard, it might bend something, or anyway, it's something I think that is important to have if you're going to put one of these things together. Again, we're not spending anywhere near the amount as we'd spend for even a very inexpensive, halfway decent watch. Okay, here the hands. Now the hands come in. These are Breguet hands, and one is I guess the small seconds is a spear hand. These are 10 bucks. You get a little set of these for 10 bucks. They're not very big. They're quite small, as a matter of fact. And these appear to have been blued, and they're nice, and they work well with the dial style and so forth. This is, of course, an individual thing, but you pop those on there, and you have your dial set up with hands. Okay, now all of these have to be connected to something inside of the movement. On the front part that we looked at, they have to be connected to something that has a post for them to sit on. All right, one of the things here, and this I really like, this is an onion crown on this. I don't know if you noticed or not, when we looked at the first part, you saw the stem, and it had sort of a barrel shape or a drum shape crown. And Bill got this, either the crown or the crown and the stem, with this onion shape, which I happen to really like. I think it looks cool. And I was up there looking, it's in and then out. And of course you have to test that before you start wearing it. Wind it up. Hand wound, that's another thing with hand wound. You have to wind it up and feel what's going on in the watch. Okay, finally, what Bill did is that he put together a little video that shows the watch, and he's holding it up and turning it around so we can take a look at it. And this way, you can see it's a pretty cool looking watch. And there in the back, by the way, too, near the bottom there, you can see the power reserve indicator. And the power reserve indicator on the back of a watch, I think it is a great idea. On my H. Moser, the power reserve indicator right up here, this wheel gets to a certain point, and it's got a little red thing that says down. So that's another thing you can use it for. Okay. Well, I'd really like to hear what you think about that. Hey, maybe this is something you'd like to try yourself. And there are kits, or there's all kinds of places you can get this. Um, one of the places that is called, what is it? It's a Fry, Frei, and Essinger. There are a lot of different companies that have all of the parts for a watch, and also on eBay. With eBay, they have a lot of eBay stores, and that's not a bad place to go if you want to get a real inexpensive one. And this one is relatively inexpensive. You've got about maybe $100 total in the whole watch, and you end up with a nice mechanical watch that has an established movement. I don't know how great the movement is, but hey, it works and it looks nice. What the heck? Why not? Okay, well, like I said, I'd like to hear what your opinions are. If you've ever done this yourself or you'd like more information, maybe I hope Bill will help us out. What I'm doing tomorrow. I'm going to be going to New York's Horological Society. They have a course there, and I'm going to be taking it, and as well as the Watch Zone or Time Zone course that I've been taking. Now that's taking them apart and putting them together, the movement, which is a little different, but it's great for learning how to work with watches. And the best part is you save a lot of money. Okay, well, this is an invitation to subscribe as always. And like I said, I'd really like to hear from you. Until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.